Hello, wonderful learners. Welcome to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so incredibly happy to have you here with me today. Whether you are listening on your morning commute, while you are cooking dinner, or perhaps just taking a quiet moment for yourself, you've made a fantastic decision to tune in. Today, we are embarking on a special journey together. We are not just learning grammar rules or memorizing lists of vocabulary words today. No, today we are going to focus on something much more important, something that transforms you from a student of English into a speaker of English. We are talking about natural fluency and how to train your brain, your mouth, and your ears to speak English naturally every single day. This is the Daily Fluency Training Podcast, and my goal is to guide you through a complete immersion experience that will help you sound more like a native speaker and, more importantly, feel confident when you open your mouth to speak. If you enjoy this kind of deep, immersive training, please remember to support the channel by subscribing to English in Advance so you never miss a session. Now, let us take a deep breath, relax our shoulders, and dive right into the heart of fluency. To begin, we need to understand what natural English really is. Many of my students tell me that they can read English perfectly, they can understand movies with subtitles, and they can write excellent emails, but when they try to speak, they freeze. The words get stuck. They feel like they are translating in their heads from their native language into English. And by the time they are ready to speak, the conversation has moved on. If this sounds like you, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is the most common hurdle for English learners, and the solution is not to study more textbooks. The solution is to change your daily habits and the way you process the language. We call this switching your default mode. Let's imagine your day starts right now. You are waking up in the morning. Usually, your internal monologue, that little voice inside your head, is speaking in your native language. You might think about how tired you are, or what you need to do for work, or that you need a coffee. The first step in our daily fluency training is to narrate your morning in English. I want you to try this tomorrow morning. As soon as you open your eyes, force that first thought to be in English. It can be simple. You might say to yourself, "Oh, the sun is shining so brightly today." Or you might say, "I am feeling a bit groggy this morning. I really need to stretch." Notice the words I used there. I did not just say, "I am tired." I used the word groggy. Groggy is a fantastic natural word that native speakers use to describe that heavy, slow feeling you have when you first wake up and your brain hasn't fully started yet. Try saying that with me right now. Groggy. I am feeling a bit groggy. It sounds much more natural and descriptive than just saying, "I am tired." This is the secret to sounding natural. It is about finding the specific word that fits the feeling. So, you are out of bed. Now, narrate your actions. I am walking to the bathroom. I am reaching for my toothbrush. I am squeezing the toothpaste onto the brush. Notice how we are using the present continuous tense here. I am walking. I am reaching. I am squeezing. This is excellent practice for your brain to connect the action you are doing physically with the English verb. When you do this every day, you stop translating. You don't see a toothbrush and think of the word in your language and then translate it. You see the object, and the English word toothbrush pops into your mind instantly. Let's push this a little further. You are looking in the mirror. What do you see? Maybe your hair is messy. A textbook might say your hair is unkempt. But a native speaker? We would say, "Wow, I have got serious bed hair today." Bed hair. That is a natural, common expression for messy hair in the morning. Or maybe you see dark circles under your eyes. You could say, "I look like I didn't sleep a wink." That phrase, not sleeping a wink, means you didn't sleep at all or you slept very poorly. It is these little idioms and phrases that make your English sound colorful and alive. Now let us move to the kitchen. You are making breakfast. This is a great time to practice what we call collocations. Collocations are words that naturally go together. For example, we don't usually say, "I am doing some coffee." We say, "I am making some coffee," or "I am brewing some coffee." If you like your coffee with nothing in it, you drink it black. If you like it with a little milk and sugar, you might say, "I take my coffee with a splash of milk." Listen to that word again. Splash. A splash of milk. It is a very visual word. It describes a small amount of liquid. Try using that next time you order a drink or make one at home. While you are drinking your coffee or tea, I want to talk about pronunciation and flow. This is where many learners struggle because they try to pronounce every single word perfectly and separately. But English is a stress-timed language. We link words together. We squeeze some words and stretch others. If you speak like a robot saying, "I am going to have a cup of coffee," it sounds unnatural. A native speaker links it all together. It sounds more like, "I'm going to have a cup of coffee." Let's break that down because I want you to practice this with me. First, look at the phrase going to. In natural, fast speech, this often becomes gonna. I'm gonna. Then look at have a. The V sound in have connects to the A sound, so it sounds like hava. I'm gonna hava. And finally, cup of. The P in cup connects to the O in of, and the F sound in of often becomes very soft or disappears entirely, or connects to the next word. So cup of coffee becomes cup of coffee. Put it all together slowly. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Now try it a little faster. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. And now at natural speed, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. Do you hear how smooth that is? It flows like a river. It doesn't chop like a knife. This technique is called connected speech. It is essential for listening comprehension as well. If you are waiting to hear the word of clearly, you might miss it because the speaker just said cuppa. By practicing speaking this way, you train your ears to hear this way. So throughout your day, I want you to look for opportunities to link words. When you say, wake up, the K sound travels over to the U. It becomes wake up, wake up. When you say turn off, the N travels to the O, turn off. Try saying that. Can you please turn off the light? It feels different in your mouth, doesn't it? It requires you to relax your jaw and let the air flow continuously. Now let's imagine you are leaving your house. You are stepping out into the world. The weather is always a great topic for fluency because it is something we talk about every single day. Instead of just saying it is cold, try to use more expressive language. If it is very cold, you can say it is freezing out here, or it is chilly. Chilly means a little bit cold, maybe you need a light jacket. If it is raining heavily, don't just say it is raining. Say it is pouring. Or it is raining cats and dogs, though honestly, we use pouring much more often in daily life. Imagine you meet a neighbor or a colleague. This is where the challenge of small talk comes in. Small talk is that casual conversation we have to be polite. The standard textbook greeting is, "How are you?" And the standard answer is, "I am fine, thank you." And you. There is nothing wrong with this, but it is very stiff. It acts like a wall. It stops the conversation. To sound more natural and inviting, you want to open the door. So if someone asks, "How are you?" try answering with a little bit of information. You could say, "I'm doing pretty good, actually. I just had the best coffee, so I'm ready for the day." Or you could say, "I'm a bit tired, to be honest. It was a long week." Notice the difference. By adding that tiny detail about the coffee or the long week, you are giving the other person something to talk about. You are inviting a connection. They can say, "Oh, I love coffee too. Where do you buy yours?" Or, "I know what you mean. This week has been exhausting." This is a key fluency strategy called elaborating. Never give a one-word answer if you want to practice your English. Always add a because or a so or a detail. If someone asks, "Do you like your job?" don't just say yes. Say, "Yes, I really enjoy it because every day is different and I love the challenge." That full sentence gives you practice with structure, vocabulary, and rhythm. It builds your stamina. Speaking a language is like a muscle. If you only lift light weights, you will never get strong. If you only say yes or no, you will never become fluent. You have to lift the heavy weights. You have to push yourself to make longer sentences. Let's practice this elaborating technique right now. I am going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it out loud wherever you are. Don't worry if you make a mistake. Just focus on giving a full, detailed answer. Here is the question. What is your favorite season of the year? Go ahead, answer it. Did you just say summer? If you did, that's okay. But let's try again. I want you to tell me why. I want you to use a feeling word. Try something like, "I absolutely love autumn because I adore the crisp air and the beautiful colors of the changing leaves. Can you feel the difference?" That sentence paints a picture. It shows personality. Let's try another one. What did you do last weekend? Take a moment. Formulate a full sentence. Maybe you said, "I went to the park." That is good. It is grammatically correct. But let's add some flavor. Let's add some natural flow. How about I actually had a really low-key weekend? I just went for a lovely stroll in the park to clear my head. Note the vocabulary there. Low-key. This is a wonderful casual expression that means relaxed, not busy, and quiet. A low-key weekend. And the word stroll. A stroll is a slow, relaxed walk. You stroll when you are happy and in no rush. You walk when you are going to work. Using specific verbs like stroll instead of walk adds precision to your English. And finally, to clear my head. This is a common idiom meaning to relax your mind and stop worrying. Now that we have warmed up with some morning routines and small talk, I want to address a very important aspect of fluency that often gets ignored, and that is the melody of English. We call this intonation. Every language has its own music. If you speak English with the music of your native language, it can be hard for native speakers to understand you, even if your grammar is perfect. English is a very emotional language in its sound. We go up and down a lot to show how we feel. Imagine the word really. If I say it flat, really, it sounds bored or sarcastic. But if I go up at the end, really, it shows surprise. If I go down, really, it shows agreement or disappointment. Let's practice this melody with a common sentence. I can't believe it. First, say it with a flat voice. I can't believe it. It sounds like a robot, right? Now imagine you just won the lottery. You are shocked and happy. Your voice should go up high on believe and then come down. I can't believe it. Try that. I can't believe it. Put a lot of energy into that middle word. Now imagine something bad happened. You missed your bus. You are frustrated. You might stress the word can't. I can't believe it. The melody changes the meaning. Fluency is about mastering this melody. A great way to practice this is something I call the humming technique. Listen to a native speaker, maybe in a movie or a podcast like this one. Take a sentence they say, and instead of saying the words, just hum the tune. If I say it is a beautiful day, you would hum da-da-da-da-da. You hear the rhythm, da-da-da-da-da. Once you can hum the music, then put the words back in. It is a beautiful day. This bypasses your logical brain that is obsessing over letters and spelling, and it connects you directly to the sound and rhythm of the language. As we continue our daily fluency training, we must talk about the power of mistakes. I know, nobody likes making mistakes. It feels embarrassing. You feel your face get hot. But in language learning, a mistake is not a failure. A mistake is data. It is information. When you make a mistake and you correct it, or someone corrects you, your brain builds a new pathway. If you are terrified of making mistakes, you will stay silent, and silence does not lead to fluency. You must be willing to sound a little bit silly sometimes. You must be willing to stumble. I want you to adopt a new mindset starting today. I call it the brave learner mindset. The brave learner says, I am going to speak, and I might mess up my grammar, and that is okay because I am communicating. When you are speaking to someone, focus on the message, not the medium. Focus on the person you are talking to. Look them in the eye. Listen to what they are saying. If you are busy worrying about whether to use the past simple or the present perfect, you are not listening. And if you are not listening, you cannot have a fluent conversation. Conversation is a two-way street. It is a dance. If you are staring at your feet, counting the steps, you will trip. You have to look at your partner and move with the music. Let's integrate some grammar into this natural context. We talked about the present continuous for what is happening right now, like I am brushing my teeth. But what about when we tell stories? We love telling stories about our lives. When we tell a story about the past, we often mix the past simple and the past continuous. This creates a background and a foreground for your story. Imagine you are telling a friend about something funny that happened. You might say, I was walking down the street when I saw a clown. I was walking is the background action. It was happening over a period of time. Then, suddenly, I saw a clown. That is the specific event that interrupted the background. This structure is the backbone of storytelling in English. I was cooking dinner when the phone rang. I was driving to work when I got a flat tire. Practice this structure today. Think of something that happened to you recently. Set the scene with was doing, and then introduce the event with the simple past verb. For example, I was studying English when my cat jumped on the keyboard. It makes your stories dynamic. It gives them movement. If you just say, I studied English, my cat jumped, it sounds choppy. It sounds like a list of facts. But I was studying English when my cat jumped. That flows. That puts the listener right there in the room with you. Another wonderful way to sound more fluent is to use what we call filler words effectively. Now, traditionally, teachers tell you to avoid saying and and that is true. Too many of them can be distracting. But native speakers use specific filler words that actually help the flow of conversation. Words like, well, actually, and like. These words give you a split second to think about what you want to say next without breaking the silence awkwardly. For instance, If someone asks you a difficult question, instead of just standing there in silence while you think, you can say, "Well, that is a good question." Let me think about that for a second. That phrase buys you time. It keeps the ball of conversation in your court. Or you can say, "Actually, I haven't thought about that before." The word "actually" is very powerful. It signals that you are about to give an opinion or a fact that might be surprising or contradictory. It is much softer than just stating a fact. Let's look at the word "like." Younger generations use it a lot, sometimes too much, but used correctly, it is very useful for approximation. If you say, "It was like 5 o'clock," it means it was around 5 o'clock, maybe 4:55, maybe 5:05. It signals you are not being exact. It is also used to report speech or thoughts in a casual way. I was like, "No way," and he was like, "Yes way." This is very casual, colloquial English, but if you want to understand native speakers in social situations, you need to recognize how they use these words. Now, as we approach the end of this first session of our training, I want to give you a concrete homework assignment. But don't worry, it is not a written assignment. It is a speaking assignment. I want you to talk to yourself. Yes, out loud. Find a private space, maybe in your car or in the shower, and spend 2 minutes talking about your plans for the rest of the day. But I want you to use the techniques we discussed. First, use connected speech. Don't say "going to," say "gonna." Second, use emotional intonation. Don't be a robot. Let your voice rise and fall. Third, elaborate. Don't just list tasks. Explain why you are doing them and how you feel about them. So instead of saying, "I will go to the store," "I will buy milk," "I will cook dinner," try saying, "So later today I'm going to head over to the supermarket because we are completely out of milk. After that, I'm planning to whip up a delicious pasta for dinner, which I'm really looking forward to because I'm starving." Did you hear the difference? I used head over instead of go. I used completely out of instead of no milk. I used whip up, which means to cook quickly. And I used starving instead of very hungry. This is the level of English we are aiming for. It is rich, it is descriptive, and it flows. Remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. You do not wake up one day and suddenly you are fluent. It happens little by little, day by day, phrase by phrase. Every time you choose a natural phrase over a textbook one, you are winning. Every time you link your words together smoothly, you are improving. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small victories. If you understood most of this podcast without translating in your head, that is a huge victory. If you learned just one new phrase today, like bed hair or low key, that is a victory. We have covered so much ground already, from the mindset of the brave learner to the specific sounds of connected speech. But we are just getting started. There is so much more to explore regarding idioms, phrasal verbs, navigating complex social situations, and deep diving into professional English. And as we continue this journey on English in Advance, I want to welcome you deeper into our training. If you are listening to this right now, it means you are serious about taking your English from a textbook level to a living, breathing skill that you can use every single day. We've already talked about waking up your brain with English, narrating your morning routine, and the importance of the brave learner mindset. Now we are going to go deeper. We are going to tackle some of the trickier parts of English that often separate the intermediate learners from the advanced speakers. We are going to talk about the secret language of phrasal verbs, the art of polite conversation, and how to train your ears to hear things you have been missing for years. So, get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook if you can, or just let these words wash over you as we dive into the next phase of our daily fluency training. Let's begin with a topic that I know causes a lot of headaches for learners, and that is phrasal verbs. You know what I mean? Verbs like give up, give in, get along, get by, look forward to. These little combinations of a verb and a preposition are everywhere in spoken English. Native speakers use them constantly, often without even realizing it. In formal writing, we might use a Latin-based word like discover, but in conversation, we almost always say find out. Instead of saying I arrived at the hotel, we say I checked in. Instead of saying I have a good relationship with my boss, we say I get along with my boss. If you want to understand movies, TV shows, and casual conversations, you have to make friends with phrasal verbs. The mistake many students make is trying to memorize them from a long list. That is boring, and honestly, it does not work very well because you forget them as soon as you close the book. The best way to learn them is in context, woven into a story. So, let me tell you a little story about a typical busy day, and I want you to listen for the phrasal verbs. I will explain them as we go. Imagine you have been putting off a big project at work. To put off means to delay or postpone. Maybe you are procrastinating, so you've been putting it off. Finally, you realize you are running out of time. To run out of something means you have none left. You can run out of milk, run out of money, or run out of patience. In this case, you are running out of time. So you decide to knuckle down. This is a great one. To knuckle down means to start working very hard and seriously. You turn off your phone so you won't be distracted. You are working hard, but then you come up against a problem. To come up against means to face a difficulty. You try to figure it out yourself. To figure out means to solve or understand. You look at the data, you analyze the numbers, but you just can't make sense of it. So you decide to reach out to a colleague. To reach out is a very common professional phrase that means to contact someone for help or communication. You call your friend Mark. Mark picks up and says he is busy right now, but he can call you back later. To call back means to return a phone call. While you are waiting for Mark, you decide to clean up your desk. To clean up implies organizing and making things tidy. You come across an old photo of your university days. To come across means to find something by accident. You weren't looking for the photo, you just found it. Seeing that photo brings back memories. To bring back means to make you remember something from the past. You spend a few minutes looking at it and then you get back to work. To get back to simply means to return to an activity. Finally, Mark calls back. You explain the problem and he points out something you missed. To point out means to draw attention to something. He says, "Look at this number here. It is wrong." And suddenly everything clears up. To clear up means to become understandable or to resolve confusion. You thank Mark, finish the project, and hand it in just before the deadline. To hand in means to submit work to a boss or a teacher. You feel relieved. You did not let your team down. To let down means to disappoint someone who is counting on you. Do you see how natural that story sounds? It flows. If I had used formal synonyms for all those words, it would have sounded very stiff. It would have sounded like this. I had been postponing a project. I had no time remaining. I decided to work seriously. I encountered a problem. I tried to solve it. I contacted a colleague. He returned my call. I found a photo. It caused me to remember. He drew attention to an error. I submitted the work. It is correct, but it lacks the rhythm and the casual feeling of native English. So here is my challenge for you regarding phrasal verbs. Don't learn them in isolation. Group them by topic. Learn phrasal verbs for relationships, like break up, make up, ask out, cheat on. Learn phrasal verbs for travel, like set off, check out, drop off, pick up. And when you learn a new one, immediately create a sentence about your own life. If you learn the verb give up, which means to quit, say to yourself, I will never give up on learning English. Making it personal makes it memorable. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that is crucial for those of you using English in a professional setting or when you are traveling. I am talking about the art of politeness and softening your language. In many cultures, directness is valued. You say exactly what you want. Give me the water. I want a refund. Open the window. But in English, especially in British and American culture, being too direct can often sound rude or aggressive, even if you don't mean to be. We value what we call hedging or softening. We use extra words to make a request sound less like a command and more like a suggestion. Let's look at some examples. Imagine you are at a restaurant and you want the salt. A beginner might say, give me the salt. An intermediate learner might say, can you give me the salt? But a fluent, polite speaker would say, could you pass the salt, please? Or even, would you mind passing the salt? Notice the structure there. Would you mind passing? After would you mind, we use the ing form of the verb. Would you mind closing the door? Would you mind helping me with this? This is a beautiful, soft way to ask for a favor. Here's another situation. You are at work and you disagree with a colleague's idea. You cannot just say, I disagree, that is bad, or you are wrong, that is very aggressive. Instead, you want to acknowledge their point first and then introduce your disagreement. You can say, I see what you are saying, but I think we should look at it from another angle. Or, that is a valid point. However, have we considered the cost? See how that works? You validate them first. I see your point. I understand where you are coming from. That is interesting. And then you use a transition word like but, however, or actually to introduce your opinion. This keeps the atmosphere professional and friendly. Let's practice asking for things. Instead of, I want a coffee, try saying, I would like a coffee, please. Or even more natural, can I get a coffee? Or could I have a coffee? Note that we use the past tense forms could and would to make things polite in the present. It creates a little bit of distance that feels respectful. If you need to interrupt someone who is busy, don't just start talking. Say, I am sorry to bother you, but do you have a quick second? Or, excuse me, I was wondering if I could ask you a quick question. The phrase I was wondering is magical. It is incredibly polite. I was wondering if you are free for lunch. I was wondering if you could help me. It implies that you have been thinking about it and you are being considerate of their time. Now, I want to talk about listening. Fluency is 50% speaking and 50% listening. If you cannot understand what the other person is saying, the conversation dies. Many students tell me, Jessica, native speakers speak too fast. They swallow their words. And yes, we do. We talked about connected speech earlier about how cup of coffee becomes cup of coffee. But to really improve your listening, you need to change how you consume English media. Most people listen passively. You put on a podcast or a movie, and you do the dishes or you scroll on your phone. This is okay for general exposure, but it won't train your ears effectively. To really improve, you need to do active listening. This means you are fully focused. You are a detective. Here is an exercise I want you to try. Take a short audio clip, maybe just 30 seconds of this podcast or a scene from a movie. Listen to it once for the general idea. Then listen to it again and try to write down exactly what is said, word for word. This is called dictation. When you do this, you will discover the little words you are missing. You might hear the big nouns and verbs, but you might miss the prepositions, the articles, the little auxiliary verbs. You might write down, she going store. But the audio actually said, she is going to the store. When you compare your writing to the actual transcript or subtitles, you will see your gaps. I missed the is. I missed the to. This forces your brain to pay attention to the grammar in real time. Another powerful technique is shadowing. I am sure you have heard of this, but are you doing it correctly? Shadowing is not just repeating after the speaker. It is imitating the speaker simultaneously. You play the audio and you try to speak along with it, exactly at the same speed, with the same melody and the same emotion. You become a copycat. If the speaker pauses, you pause. If they shout, you shout. If they whisper, you whisper. Let's try a tiny bit of shadowing right now. I am going to say a sentence 3 times. The first time, just listen. The second and third times, try to say it with me, exactly as I say it. Here is the sentence. I really don't think that's a good idea. Listen first. I really don't think that's a good idea. Notice the stress on really and good. Now ready? Speak with me. I really don't think that's a good idea. One more time. With feeling. I really don't think that's a good idea. This exercise physically trains your mouth muscles to move at the speed of a native speaker. It is like muscle memory for your tongue. If you do this for just 10 minutes a day, you will see a massive improvement in your pronunciation and your listening speed because you are internalizing the rhythm of the language. Moving on, let's discuss vocabulary again, but this time, let's focus on intensity and emotion. One of the markers of a fluent speaker is the ability to express nuance. Beginners use basic words, good, bad, happy, sad, big, small. There's nothing wrong with these words, but they are like painting with only primary colors. If you want your English to be a masterpiece, you need more colors. You need shades and textures. Instead of saying, I am very happy, try saying, I am thrilled. Thrilled means very excited and happy. I am thrilled about the news, or I am over the moon. That is a lovely idiom. Instead of saying, I am very sad, say, I am devastated. Devastated sounds like your heart is broken. It is much stronger. Or if you are just a little bit sad or disappointed, you might say, I am a bit bummed out. That is casual slang. I wanted to go to the beach, but it rained, so I'm a bit bummed out. Instead of saying, I am angry, you could say, I am furious, or I am livid if you are very, very angry. Or if you are just a little annoyed, you can say, I am frustrated or irritated. Imagine you are stuck in traffic. You aren't necessarily furious, but you are definitely frustrated. Using the right word helps the listener understand exactly how you feel. Let's look at the word interesting. It is a very common word, but it is a bit weak. If something is very interesting, call it fascinating. This book is fascinating. If something is surprising, call it mind-blowing. The special effects in that movie were mind-blowing. If something is very funny, Don't just say it was funny. Say it was hilarious. We watched a comedy last night and it was hilarious. I laughed until I cried. And what about when you are tired? You can say, I am exhausted. I am drained. I am wiped out. Wiped out is a phrasal adjective that means you have no energy left. I worked 12 hours today. I am completely wiped out. Using these stronger adjectives makes you a more engaging speaker. People want to listen to you because you sound expressive and alive. Now let's talk about how we organize our thoughts when we speak. This is often called chunking or using thought groups. When you read a sentence on a page, it looks like a long line of words. But when we speak, we break that line into little pieces. We pause slightly between ideas to let the listener catch up. We don't speak like a typewriter, talk, 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 talk. We speak like waves. For example, take the sentence, I went to the store to buy some milk because I wanted to make pancakes. If I say it without pauses, it is hard to follow. But a native speaker chunks it. I went to the store to buy some milk because I wanted to make pancakes. Each of those chunks is a thought unit. I went to the store is one action. To buy some milk is the reason. Because I wanted to make pancakes is the deeper motivation. When you speak, try to group words together that belong together. Prepositional phrases usually stay together. On the table, in the morning, at the bus stop. You wouldn't say at the bus stop. You say at the bus stop. Practicing chunking will immediately make you sound more confident. It gives you time to breathe. It gives you time to think of the next word. You don't have to rush. In fact, speaking a little slower with clear chunks is much better than speaking fast and stumbling. Silence is powerful. Don't be afraid of a tiny pause. It adds emphasis. Let's integrate this into a social scenario. Imagine you are meeting someone for the first time at a party or a networking event. You want to make a good impression. We talked about small talk earlier, but let's go further. How do you keep a conversation going? The secret is to use bridge phrases. These are phrases that connect what the other person said to what you are going to say. If someone says, I just got back from a trip to Italy, you can say, oh, speaking of Italy, I have always wanted to go there. How was the food? The phrase speaking of is a bridge. It shows you were listening and links their topic to yours. Or you can use, that reminds me of. If they tell a funny story about a dog, you can say, that reminds me of the time my dog ate my homework. Another great one is, by the way. You use this to shift the topic slightly. It is great to see you, by the way. How is your brother doing? These transition words act like glue. They hold the conversation together so it doesn't feel like an interrogation. Question, answer, that is boring. You want flow. Statement, bridge, reaction, question. I went to Italy. Wow, that sounds amazing. I love Italian food. Did you visit Rome? Yes, Rome was incredible. I can imagine. I've seen photos of the Colosseum and it looks breathtaking. Notice how I am adding reactions. Wow, that sounds amazing. I can imagine. These are active listening sounds. You need to use them while the other person is speaking to show you are engaged. If you stay completely silent with a blank face, the speaker might think you are bored or you don't understand. Nod your head. Say, uh-huh, right, really, no way. These little interjections fuel the conversation. As we move deeper into the mechanics of fluency, I want to address the fear of getting stuck. It is the nightmare of every language learner. You are in the middle of a sentence and suddenly the word is gone. Your mind goes blank. panic sets in. What do? Do you freeze? Do you apologize and run away? No, you use circumlocution. This is a fancy word that means talking around the word. If you forget the word for umbrella, don't stop. Describe it. Say, the thing you hold over your head when it rains to stay dry. The person will say, "Oh, an umbrella," and you say, "Yes, exactly." If you forget the word for receipt, say the little piece of paper they give you after you pay. If you forget the word for surgeon, say the doctor who operates on people in a hospital. Describing the word is actually a high-level skill. It keeps the communication channel open. Native speakers do this too when we have a brain fart. That is a slang term for when you momentarily forget something simple. We say, "Oh, what is that word?" The thing for and we describe it. So never let a missing word stop you. Describe the function, describe the appearance, describe the feeling. Use your hands. Use synonyms. Just keep moving forward. We have covered a lot so far. We journeyed through the narrative world of phrasal verbs, learning that running out of something is better than having no more. We practiced the soft art of politeness, learning that "I was wondering" opens more doors than "I want." We discussed active listening and shadowing to tune our ears to the music of English. We painted with the colorful vocabulary of thrilled and devastated. We learned to chunk our speech into thought groups, and we learned how to build bridges in conversation. You are doing an amazing job. Listening to a script of this length requires focus, and that focus is exactly what will build your fluency. Your brain is absorbing these patterns. Even if you don't remember every single rule we discussed, the rhythm is sinking in. Now, we are going to build the interior of our house of fluency. We are going to talk about the topics that affect our daily survival and our deepest relationships. We are going to discuss money, health, and the art of arguing without fighting. These are the areas where you need to be precise because misunderstandings here can cause real problems. We will also have a dedicated workshop on pronunciation to fix those stubborn sounds that give away your accent. So take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's step into the world of advanced daily communication. Let's start with a topic that makes the world go round, and that is money. Talking about money in English goes far beyond just numbers and currency. There is a whole vocabulary of idioms and expressions that native speakers use to describe value, cost, and budgeting. Imagine you are shopping. You see a beautiful jacket. You look at the price tag and your eyes widen. A beginner might say, "It is very expensive." But you are not a beginner anymore. You might say, "Wow, that costs a fortune," or "That costs an arm and a leg." Now, we don't literally mean body parts, of course. It just means the price is painfully high. If the price is so high that it would ruin your budget, you might say, "I can't afford that, it would break the bank." To break the bank is a very common phrase. We often use it in the negative, for example, saying, "Don't worry, dinner is on me, it won't break the bank." On the other hand, imagine you find a great deal. The jacket is 50% off. You wouldn't just say it is cheap. Cheap can sometimes mean low quality. You want to say it is good value. You could say, "It was a total steal." A steal means you paid so little for it, it feels like you stole it. Or you could say, "It was a bargain." If you are the kind of person who is careful with money, you are thrifty. Being thrifty is a positive thing. It means you are smart with your cash. However, be careful not to be stingy. Stingy is a negative word. It means you hate spending money even when you should, like leaving a tip for a waiter or buying a gift for a friend. Nobody wants to be called stingy, but everyone likes to be known as thrifty or budget conscious. Let's talk about the struggle of daily life. Sometimes, towards the end of the month, money gets tight. We have a phrase for this survival mode. We say we are trying to make ends meet. Imagine two ends of a rope that need to tie together. If the rope is too short, the ends don't meet. So working two jobs to pay the rent is trying to make ends meet. If you are spending less because of this, you are tightening your belt. This is a very visual idiom. You are getting thinner because you are eating less, so you tighten your belt. In reality, it just means cutting expenses. You might cut back on eating out or cancel a subscription. And why do we do this? Usually, to save for a rainy day. A rainy day fund is money you keep for an emergency, like if your car breaks down or you lose your job. Let's practice these in a context. Repeat this sentence after me to get the flow. I have to tighten my belt this month because my car repair cost an arm and a leg. Try it. I have to tighten my belt this month because my car repair cost an arm and a leg. Do you feel the rhythm? It tells a complete story of financial stress in just one sentence. Now let's move to something even more important than money, and that is your health. In textbook English, we learn I am sick or I have a pain, but native speakers use a spectrum of phrases to describe exactly how they feel. Often, before you get fully sick, you feel a little bit off. You might say, I am feeling under the weather. This is the gold standard of health idioms. It means you are not 100%. Maybe you are tired or you have a slight headache. If you feel a cold starting, you say, I think I am coming down with something. To come down with implies the sickness is descending upon you. If you have a headache, don't just say my head hurts. If it is bad, say, I have a splitting headache. It feels like your head is splitting in two. If your nose is blocked, you have a stuffy nose or a runny nose, depending on the situation. If you have a stomach ache, you might say, my stomach is feeling a bit delicate, or simply, I have an upset stomach. And when you are recovering, you are on the mend. I was sick last week, but I am on the mend now. That sounds very optimistic and natural. Let's talk about fitness too. If you haven't exercised in a long time, you are out of shape. You might decide to join a gym to get back into shape. We often use the phrase shape up to mean improving your behavior or performance, but physically, we say get fit or get in shape. If you go to the gym, you work out. Note the phrasal verb there. You don't usually say I exercise at the gym, you say I work out. It sounds more active and modern. And if you are trying to stop eating unhealthy food, you are cutting down on junk food. To cut down on means to reduce. I need to cut down on sugar. I need to cut down on caffeine. Now, I want to take a pause from vocabulary and enter the gym of the mouth. We are going to do a pronunciation workshop. There are specific sounds in English that are notoriously difficult for learners, and if you can master them, your clarity will skyrocket. The first one is the TH sound. This is the nemesis of many students. There are two types, the unvoiced TH, like in think, and the voiced TH, like in this. The mistake many people make is keeping their tongue behind their teeth, so think sounds like sink or tink. To make the correct sound, you must stick your tongue out. It has to go between your top and bottom teeth. It is a tongue sandwich. Put your hand in front of your mouth. When you say think, you should feel a strong puff of air. Think, thought, Thursday. Thank you. If you don't feel the air, you are likely saying tink. For the voiced one, like this, that, these, those, your vocal cords vibrate. It buzzes. Z's. This, that. Practice this sentence. I think that this Thursday is the 3rd. It is a tongue twister, but it forces your tongue to move in and out. I think that this Thursday is the 3rd. Do it slowly. Exaggerate the movement. You might feel silly sticking your tongue out, but that is how the sound is made. Another common struggle is the difference between V and W. In some languages, these sounds are the same. In English, they are very different. The V sound is made with your top teeth touching your bottom lip. Like a vibration. Very, vest, van. The W sound is made with round lips, like you are going to kiss someone. www.water.west.window.your teeth should never touch your lip for the W sound. Let's try a pair. Vet and wet. Vet, teeth on lip. I took my dog to the vet. Wet, round lips. The dog got wet in the rain. Practice this. The vet got wet when washing the west window. The vet, teeth got wet. Lips, when washing. Lips, the west. Lips, window, lips. This distinction is crucial because saying, I want to wash the windows, is very different from saying, I want to vash the windows, which sounds like a heavy accent. Let's look at one more vowel pair that causes awkward situations. The difference between the long E sound and the short I sound. For example, sheep and ship, or sheet and, well, the other word, or beach and bitch. Mixing these up can be embarrassing. The long E in sheep or beach is a smile sound. You pull your mouth back wide. E, sheep. Green, bean. The short I in ship, or it is a relaxed sound. Your face does not move much. I, ship, hit, sit. If you smile when you say ship, it sounds like sheep. You have to relax your jaw. Try this. The sheep is on the ship. Smile for the first one, relax for the second. The she-pea is on the ship. I want to sit on the seat. Relax for sit. Smile for seat. I want to sit on the seat. Mastering this vowel length will make your English sound much cleaner and will avoid those accidental bad words. Now that we have tuned up our pronunciation, let's apply it to high-level social skills. Specifically, how to express opinions and argue politely. In many cultures, arguing is loud and direct. In English-speaking cultures, especially in professional or polite settings, we value diplomacy. You can disagree completely with someone, but if you do it politely, they will respect you. If you do it aggressively, they will shut down. Imagine you are in a meeting. Someone says, I think we should lower our prices. You think this is a terrible idea. Do not say, no, you are wrong. That is a conversational slap in the face. Instead, use the Oreo cookie technique. Positive, negative, positive. The top cookie is the validation. That is an interesting idea, and I see you want to attract more customers. The cream in the middle is the disagreement. However, I am concerned that lowering prices might damage our brand image. The bottom cookie is a constructive suggestion. Perhaps we could offer a temporary discount instead. This way, the person feels heard, not attacked. Here are some power phrases for disagreeing politely. I beg to differ. This is formal and very strong, but polite. I see it slightly differently. This is softer. To play devil's advocate. This is a fantastic phrase. It means you are going to argue the opposite side just to test the idea, not necessarily because you believe it. It takes the pressure off. To play devil's advocate, what happens if our competitors lower their prices too? What if you are not sure? You are sitting on the fence. Sitting on the fence means you haven't decided which side to support. You can say, I am torn between the two options, or I can see the pros and cons of both sides, and sometimes you just will never agree. The argument is going in circles. The best thing to do is say, well, let's agree to disagree. This signals that we respect each other, but we are stopping this conversation to save our friendship. This leads us naturally into negotiation. Life is one big negotiation. You negotiate with your boss for a raise, with your landlord for rent, or with your partner about where to go for dinner. The goal of a good negotiation is a win-win situation. This is where both people walk away happy. Key phrases for negotiation include, meet me halfway. This means let's compromise. I want 100, you want 50. Let's meet halfway at 75. What is your bottom line? This asks for the final offer, the absolute limit. Is that your final offer? I think we can work something out. This is a very positive phrase to use when things get stuck. It shows you are willing to find a solution. Let's role play a simple domestic negotiation. You want Italian food, your friend wants sushi. Friend, I really want sushi tonight. You, I hear you, but I had fish for lunch. I'm not really feeling sushi. How about Italian? Friend, Italian is too heavy. I want something light. You, okay, I see. Well, let's meet halfway. How about that fusion place that has both Asian salads and pasta? That way I can get my carbs and you can get something light. Friend, that sounds like a fair compromise. You, great, it's a deal. See how that worked? You validated their feeling. I hear you. You explained your position. I had fish. You proposed a compromise, meet halfway. And you closed the negotiation. It's a deal. Let's deepen our understanding of current events and how to discuss them. Advanced speakers often talk about the news, but talking about politics or news can be risky. You need phrases that distance yourself from the opinion if you are not sure. We use reporting verbs. Instead of saying, the economy is crashing, which is a fact, you say, it seems like the economy might be struggling. They say that the new law will change everything. Who is they? It is a general subject. It allows you to report a rumor or a general opinion without saying it is your own. Rumor has it that... This is great for gossip or unconfirmed news. Rumor has it that the boss is quitting. The general consensus is... This means most people agree. The general consensus is that the movie was disappointing. Using these phrases protects you. It makes you sound objective and sophisticated. It shows you can analyze a situation, not just react to it. Now, I want to address a very subtle part of English fluency, the usage of get. This tiny three-letter word is a chameleon. It changes color depending on where it is. It replaces so many formal verbs. Get equals receive. I got an email. Get equals buy. I got a new car. Get equals arrive. I got home late. Get equals become. I got tired. It is getting dark. Get equals understand. I don't get it. Native speakers love get. If you want to sound natural, stop saying, I received your letter and say, I got your letter. Stop saying, I became angry and say, I got angry. Let's practice the get transformation. I will say a formal sentence, and I want you to change it to a get sentence in your head. Formal. I arrived at the airport at 6. Natural. I got to the airport at 6. Formal. I obtained a refund. Natural. I got a refund. Formal. I am becoming confused. Natural. I am getting confused. It is simpler, faster, and much more common. Let's combine all of this, money, health, opinions, and get, into a complex scenario. Imagine you are talking to a friend about a vacation you took that went wrong. So we got to the hotel, and honestly, it was a bit of a rip-off. The room cost an arm and a leg, but the air conditioning was broken. I got so frustrated. I went to the front desk to complain, and I told them, "Look, I don't want to be difficult, but this is unacceptable." The manager was nice. He played devil's advocate and said maybe I just didn't know how to work the remote, but eventually he admitted it was broken. I was feeling a bit under the weather anyway, so the heat made it worse. Finally, we reached a compromise. He gave us a free dinner to make up for it. So, I guess it wasn't a total disaster, but I definitely won't go back there. Listen to how dense that paragraph is with the thing we learned. Got to, rip off, arm and a leg, got frustrated, under the weather, compromise. This is the density of real English. It's not just subject, verb, object. It is layered with feeling and idiom. As we move through this comprehensive training, I want to talk about confidence, specifically the confidence to ask for clarification. Many learners nod and smile when they don't understand. They are afraid to look stupid. But pretending to understand is the worst thing you can do. It creates a gap in reality. If you didn't hear someone, don't just say, "What?" That can sound rude. Say, "Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you run that by me again? I'm not sure I follow." What do you mean by, these phrases show you are interested. "I didn't catch that" is my favorite. It sounds like you missed a ball that was thrown to you. It takes the blame off the speaker and puts it on the action of listening. It is very polite. And if someone uses a word you don't know, be brave. Ask. "I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that word. What does strenuous mean?" People love to explain things. It makes them feel smart. So give them that gift. Let them teach you. We are now approaching the summit of our training. We have covered the foundations, the social skills, and the survival topics. Now, we are going to polish your English to a shine. We will talk about professional business English, how to lead a meeting, how to give a presentation, and how to write professional emails that get results. We will also talk about deep culture, humor, sarcasm, and how to understand jokes, which is the final frontier of fluency. And finally, we will talk about how to maintain your English for the rest of your life so you never lose it. Let's dive straight into the deep end with business English. Many of my students are terrified of business English. They think it is a completely different language with impossible words. But I have a secret for you. Business English is actually just polite English with a specific purpose. The goal of business communication is efficiency and diplomacy. You want to get things done without making enemies. Imagine you are leading a meeting. You are the boss or the project manager. You cannot just walk in and say, "Start talking." You need to use signposting language. Signposts are like road signs. They tell the listeners where we are going. You might start by saying, "Strictly speaking, let's get the ball rolling." To get the ball rolling means to start the project or the meeting. You might say, "Thank you all for coming. The purpose of today's meeting is to touch base on the marketing project." To touch base is a classic business idiom. It means to briefly make contact or update each other. It comes from the sport of baseball, where players have to touch the base to be safe. In business, we touch base to make sure we are all safe and on the same page. If the meeting starts going off topic, if people start talking about their weekend or a different project, you need to bring them back. But you have to be polite. You can't say, "Stop talking about that." You say, "Let's not get sidetracked. Let's stick to the agenda." Or you might say, "That is a great point, but let's park that idea for now and come back to it later." To park an idea means to put it to the side to discuss later. It is very respectful. It acknowledges the idea is good, but just not right for this moment. Now let's talk about the dreaded presentation. Giving a presentation in your second language is one of the scariest things you can do. Your heart beats fast, your palms sweat. The key is structure. Tell them what you are going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. That is the golden rule. Start with a hook. Don't just say, "My name is Jessica, and I am here to talk about sales." Boring. Start with a question. Start with a shocking statistic. Did you know that 50% of our customers come from referrals? That wakes people up. When you move from one slide to the next, use transition phrases. Don't just click the button in silence. Say, "Moving on to the next point," or "This leads me directly to my next slide," or "Now that we have covered the problem, let's look at the solution." These phrases act like bridges. They help your audience follow your logic. And if you don't know the answer to a question during the Q&A, never say, "I don't know." That sounds incompetent. Say, "That is an excellent question. I don't have the exact figures with me right now, but I will get back to you by the end of the day. This shows you are in control and you are responsible. I will get back to you," is the professional way to buy time. Let's move to the keyboard. Email etiquette. Writing an email is different from speaking because you don't have tone of voice. You don't have a smile. So your words have to work harder to be polite. A common mistake is being too direct. Do not write, "Send me the file." That sounds like a demand from a dictator. Instead, use the magic phrase, "Could you please?" "Could you please send me the file?" Or even better, "I would appreciate it if you could send me the file." When you are delivering bad news in an email, like a delay or a rejection, use the cushioning method. Start with something positive. "Thank you for your hard work on this." Then the bad news. "Unfortunately, we have to delay the launch." Then close with a forward-looking statement. "We are confident we can get this back on track next week." This is similar to the Oreo cookie method we discussed earlier. It protects the relationship, and always pay attention to your sign-off. "Best regards" is standard. "Sincerely" is very formal. "Cheers" is very casual, used mostly in the UK or Australia between colleagues who know each other well. If you are unsure, stick with "best regards" or "kind regards." It is never wrong. Now, let's shift gears completely. We are leaving the office and going to the pub or the dinner party. We are entering the danger zone of humor and sarcasm. This is often the final frontier for language learners. You can be fluent in grammar but still feel lost when everyone starts laughing and you don't know why. Humor is cultural. In English-speaking cultures, especially the UK and parts of the US, we love irony and sarcasm. Sarcasm is when you say the opposite of what you mean, usually to be funny or critical. Imagine it is raining heavily. A storm is blowing the trees down. A native speaker looks out the window and says, "Lovely weather we are having, isn't it?" If you take this literally, you will think they are crazy, but they are being sarcastic. The humor comes from the gap between the reality, the storm, and the words. Lovely weather. If you want to join in, you have to play the game. You could answer, "Yes, perfect day for a picnic." Now you are bonding. You are sharing the joke. Self-deprecation is another huge part of English humor. This means making fun of yourself. In some cultures, you always want to present your best self. In English, we trust people who can laugh at themselves. If you trip and fall, instead of getting angry, you might say, "Wow, I am so graceful today." If you make a mistake in English, don't apologize profusely. Make a joke. Say, "My English is on vacation today." People will love you for it. It shows confidence. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously. However, be careful with sarcasm. It relies heavily on tone of voice. We usually use a flat, bored tone or an exaggerated tone. If you use a sincere tone, people might misunderstand you. If you say, "Nice shirt," sincerely, it is a compliment. If you say, "knee shirt" with a flat voice, it might be an insult. My advice? Listen first. See how your friends or colleagues joke with each other. Is it dry? Is it loud? Is it teasing? Test the waters with small jokes before trying a big comedy routine. Now, I want to talk about a skill that combines everything. Storytelling. Human beings are wired for stories. We don't remember facts, we remember narratives. To be a captivating speaker, you need to be a storyteller. The secret to storytelling in English is pacing and details. Don't rush to the end. Build the suspense. Instead of saying, "I lost my passport and I was scared," try to put us in the moment. Use the present tense for dramatic effect. So there I am, standing in the middle of the airport. It is chaos. People are rushing everywhere. I reach into my bag to grab my passport and my heart stops. It is gone. I can feel the cold sweat on my back. Do you feel the difference? There I am. It is chaos. My heart stops. Using the historic present tense makes the story feel like it is happening right now. And notice the sensory details. Cold sweat. Chaos. Rushing. You are painting a picture. Another storytelling trick is to quote people directly. Don't say, "The police officer told me to calm down." Say, "The police officer looked at me and said, 'Ma'am, you need to take a deep breath.'" Giving the characters a voice brings them to life. Practice telling a simple story from your life. Maybe how you met your best friend or a time you got lost. And try to use these techniques. Present tense, sensory details, and direct dialogue. We are approaching the end of our training series, and I want to address the most important question of all. How do I keep this up? How do I not lose what I have learned? The plateau effect is real. You learn a lot quickly at the beginning, but then you feel like you stop improving. You might even feel like you are getting worse. This is normal. It just means you are consolidating. You are moving from learning new things to mastering old things. To maintain your fluency for the rest of your life, you need to build an English ecosystem around you. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country to do this. You need to change your digital environment. Change the language on your phone to English. It seems small, but seeing settings and notifications every day primes your brain. Watch YouTube in English. Read the news in English. If you have a hobby like cooking or coding or yoga, do it in English. If you love yoga, follow an English-speaking yoga instructor. You will learn words like inhale, exhale, stretch, and hamstrings naturally without a textbook. This is called content-based learning. You are learning the language through the subject matter. Another powerful maintenance strategy is habit stacking. This comes from the psychology of behavior change. Take a habit you already have and stack an English habit on top of it. Do you drink coffee every morning? Stack a habit. I will listen to 5 minutes of an English podcast while I drink my coffee. Do you drive to work? Stack a habit. I will talk to myself in English for the first 10 minutes of the drive. Do you brush your teeth? Stack a habit. I will think of 3 things I am grateful for in English while I brush. By attaching English to things you already do, it becomes automatic. You don't need willpower. It just happens. And finally, you need community. You cannot learn a language in a vacuum. You need to interact. Comment on YouTube videos. Join Reddit communities or Discord servers related to your interests. If you like gaming, play on international servers. If you like reading, join an online book club. Don't be a ghost. Be a participant. The internet has removed all the barriers. The only barrier left is your own hesitation. As we wrap up this massive training session, I want you to take a moment to look back at how far you have come. Think about the brave learner mindset we discussed at the beginning. Think about the connected speech and the rhythm. Think about the phrasal verbs and the polite expressions. Think about the professional skills we discussed today. You have a toolkit now. You are not empty-handed, but having a toolkit is not enough. You have to pick up the tools and build something. You have to open your mouth and speak. Will you make mistakes? Yes, absolutely. You will say the wrong word. You will use the wrong tense. You might even accidentally say something rude when you meant to be polite. And that is okay. That is beautiful because it means you are trying. It means you are growing. Every time you stumble, you are one step closer to walking. Every time you stutter, you are one step closer to flowing. Do not let the fear of imperfection silence you. Your voice matters, your stories matter, your ideas matter, and they deserve to be heard in English. I want you to make a promise to yourself right now, not to me, but to yourself. Promise that you will not give up. Promise that you will do one small thing every day to connect with this language. Maybe it is learning one word. Maybe it is singing along to one song. Maybe it is just thinking. Today is a beautiful day in English. Consistency is the key. Small drops of water over time can carve a canyon. Be the water, keep flowing. This has been the Daily Fluency Training Podcast on English in Advance. I have been your host, Jessica, and it has been my absolute honor to guide you through this comprehensive course. I put my heart into creating this for you because I believe in you. I believe in your ability to change your life through language. If this series has helped you, if you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more prepared, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel so we can stay connected. Hit the like button to help this video reach other learners who are struggling just like you were. And most importantly, I want you to leave a comment below, but not just any comment. I want you to write one sentence using a phrase you learned in this series. Maybe use tighten my belt, or touch base, or get the ball rolling. Show me that you are using what you learned. I read every single comment and I cannot wait to see your English in action. Thank you for your time, your focus, and your trust. Go out there and speak English naturally every single day. You are ready, you are capable, and you are advanced. Until next time, take care, keep practicing, and bye for now.